Your buddy, your pal, Mike Messier, and I just thought I'd chip in my thoughts for whatever that's worth. All Elite Wrestling did a big press conference in Jacksonville, Florida, and it was all very positive, all very up and up. Uh, the Pac and the Adam Page segment was probably my favorite part of the press conference. Because they did seem, Adam Page really played up that baby face. I don't know if he's a actual baby face in the traditional sense, but really said some things about wanting to be a champion, and that kind of resonated earlier. That Cody had said something in his opening statements about wins and losses would matter. So, I thought overall it was a good press conference. Obviously, I think the biggest thing to learn from this journey these guys have gone on, and my basic thing is I don't particularly, I can't sit there and watch these guys. I'm not going to watch every episode of Being the Elite. I watched a couple of minutes. I saw some humorous stuff today with, they were announcing that they were in Japan after they all lost their respective matches, and Cody's kind of eating his food out of a plastic to go cart, and the villain Marty Scurll is kind of wondering what the hell's going on with these guys. I'll see at Ring of Honor, and they're all kind of having that uncomfortable silence because they've all moved on. So that was humorous. I did appreciate the humor, but I'm not going to sit there and watch 150 episodes of the Elite. But I mostly give these guys credit, if nothing else, for doing their own thing. And people, you have to do that. I mean, the fucking poster right there, Rocky. Okay, and for those of you that are into films or screenwriting, that Sylvester Stallone locked himself in a fucking room for a week or a weekend, put tinfoil on his windows so he could make his script, so he could write the first draft of Rocky, and an Academy Award. And where are we at? 7 sequels later, Rocky is part of the fabric of our lives. Now, I don't know if all Elite Wrestling is going to have that. I don't know if they have, uh, if these wrestlers can keep it together. But one thing that generates money is money. And the Khan family obviously has money, obviously believes in these guys enough to go into business with them. I don't know what else to say except, I think it was nice to see Conrad Thompson up there. I think he's a guy who's developed a niche for himself. And, you talk about a mean Gene Okerlund passing on, and well, perhaps Conrad, for what it's worth, is something like that young people 30 or 40 years from now are going to think of fondly of Conrad Thompson as this fatherly figure. Thanks for those that have just chimed in and are watching. Basically, talking about the All Elite press conference and what I think about it. Was just saying that Conrad Thompson, his presence is that fatherly figure. That some of these, and really what happens with pro wrestling is the fans really want a father figure. Vince McMahon was a father figure for a lot of wrestling fans. Triple H has been a father figure for fans. And now you have this big, cuddly Conrad Thompson who's a father figure for a lot of fans. So that's fine. The city of Jacksonville was probably chosen basically because of the Khans. I believe they're owners or partial owners or majority owners in the Jacksonville Jaguars football team. Good weather in that city at this time of year, apparently. So there you have it. As far as the signees, the female dentist, I thought she did a pretty good promo talking about her real life work as a dentistry. She's a very gorgeous young woman, and she's a good wrestler too. Brandy looking great as usual. I think that the one thing and Chris Jericho coming out, I think it's cool for Jericho to be having kind of this second renaissance. I mean, he gets to be the respected veteran amongst these guys. If Chris Jericho was still in WWE, he'd just be Chris Jericho. He'd just be floating around, fighting for the Intercontinental title for the 30th or 40th time by now. But because Chris Jericho has that established 20 years of being Y2J, which I think he might want to start using that as a moniker, because I think Jericho came to WWE in 1999. So he should really start doing a T-shirt that says Jericho. Like, it's been Y2J for 20 years. He should be doing that. So there you go, Jericho. I just gave you something since you blocked me on fucking Twitter. Um, you know, the one thing about a press conference like this is that it's all high hopes, it's all handshakes and high fives. Why is this group kind of capturing people's imagination as opposed to, say, Impact Wrestling on Anthem or, say, Ring of Honor? But I think Ring of Honor kind of has as well. I think it's because it's new to this era. You know, like wrestling fans, there's a lot of transition. There's a lot of turnover in wrestling fans. Believe it or not, there's hardcore wrestling fans like myself who stick with it, but sometimes people come and go. And I think that with All Elite, they're really latching on to the people that are into it now. I mean, if you look at this fucking bear and everything else that they have going on, wrestling at its core, and this is not an insult, but they should appeal to 14-year-old guys. That's what it should appeal to. The 14-year-old, even if you're a female, it should appeal to the tomboy and the female fan, I think. So I think that's what they're doing pretty well. And so when you have a bear and you have pretty girls, and whether they're wrestlers or Brandy Rhodes or all that stuff, you're not going to be able to please anybody, but everybody all the time. But I think they did a pretty good press conference. What I'd like to see from this group, though, to be honest with you, is heat. I'd like to see someone come in there and just really be a fucking asshole and not go along with thumb in the ass spots and Joey Ryan dick plexes. Like, you know, who tried to get some fucking heat was the smart alecky guy, Marcus, whatever the fuck. He's pretty good. He is good when he was making fun of Conrad, but at the same time, he kind of crumbled when he took one, crutch shot to the back. Uh, and it's, to me, it's no offense to him, from Janela, but no offense to him, but I don't know if he's that much an original character. He really just seems to me to be an EC3 reboot from TNA. So what I'm saying is they really need some fucking heat. They need some heat seekers to come into that fucking promotion and not be someone that the fans are going to clap and cheer for. They need someone who's going to be a fucking asshole and tell them that they can't do comedy spots and fucking everything's happy happy. They need some fucking heat in All Elite. So I wish them good luck. I do think it's great. The more alternatives to WWE, the better. And I think for a long time the WWE's had this stranglehold on wrestling, but I think that the cracks in the fucking castle of Titan Tower are coming in. And although I don't agree with quite a bit of what some of these guys do, whether it's Cody and his Vince Russo problems, or whether it's the Young Bucks and there's 30 super kicks a match, I would not be genuine to myself if I didn't express that I have respect, even begrudging respect, for what they're doing as businessmen. I mean, it's inspiring. They're not going to get pushed around. They're not going to be treated like shit. Omega, Kenny Omega was kind of interesting that he was not there. People are saying he signed with Ali. Who the fuck knows? I mean, I'm not a big Omega guy. I mean, maybe call me fucking old school hardcore, but when you wrestle a plastic doll in Japan, it pisses me off. I'm going to tilt the camera now, guys and gals. Oh, well, okay. The phone, the fucking phone here did not want me to tilt the camera. I was going to see if there's any comments here. I can't read your comments right now because of the way I have the phone set up. So if you are commenting, for those that are watching, I appreciate it, but I'll have to respond to your comments later. But if you have any comments, go ahead and write them. As far as other things in the wrestling world, Hulk Hogan coming back last night to WWE Raw. What did I think of that? I'll be honest, I'm still in Raw protest mode. I thought they should have had Hogan get beaten up by Titus O'Neil and Apollo and Dana Brooke. You can check my videos. I did a whole pitch where I pitched that Titus and Apollo should beat the fuck out of Hogan as some type of validation or welcome back, brother, to the business. I just thought it would be good. I just thought it'd be interesting if they, let's not treat everyone like we're idiots and we don't remember that the whole Hogan, he was gone because of this racist rant that he did on a video that he didn't even know he's being taped. So in that situation, I think they should have, pushed the envelope a little bit and had this angle with Titus. As far as SmackDown tonight, I didn't even watch it, but I mean, I see my buddy Joe Cronin is talking about it. I guess Becky Lynch won a match. I don't know. I had one thought today. There was a tweet to somebody, which was, if Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and Ronda Rousey are so over, how come the arenas are pretty much empty? I mean, no offense to them because it's not their fault, but people are talking about, oh my God, Becky Lynch, oh my God. Okay, I have no problem with Becky Lynch, but my simple point is, if she was so over, if she was more over than Road Warrior Animal, how come there's 3 or 4 thousand people at a house show, as opposed to a 20,000 seat sellout? Just something to think about. And it's not offense to her. It's not offense to the women's evolution, because no one's fucking gone bell to bell for that thing like I have. Check my goddamn website, MikeMessier.com. Mike Messier challenges WWE to Saudi Arabia. As far as my own goddamn life, really, it's been a battle for me with exercise and everything. But I've kind of just chosen the path of uh, putting on muscle mass and not worrying about defined or losing body fat. I just feel like I think there's some strength here, and I don't mean to freak you out or anything, but I think I do have some muscle. There's some muscle. It's not bad. I mean, Christ, you know what I mean? So I think I'm doing okay as far as the muscle strength. Film wise, I'm doing a lot of things. MikeMessier.com has really just Mean Gene Okerlund. It's starting to seep in that Mean Gene. I've had a lot of friends die in the last couple of years, to be honest with you. Friends mostly outside of wrestling, but Ultimate Warrior, who I did meet. If you see that, I don't know if you can see that, folks, but that's me and the Ultimate Warrior. Ox Baker was like a real life father figure to me. I mean, in a sense, Ox Baker was like a wrestling father, and I still haven't. I mean, it's been 5 years, 4 or 5 years since Ox passed away, October of 2014. I still haven't fully processed that, and I still have to work on a tribute to Ox Baker. I spoke at his funeral, so I mean that's still intense for me. Dusty Rhodes, Roddy Piper. I never met Dusty. I did meet Piper. Uh, but in Bobby Heenan, I mean, I was just thinking about some stuff today. I saw Bobby Heenan at the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame convention in 2013, and I couldn't. He was really in bad shape. He was in the wheelchair. He had the cancer and everything. I couldn't get myself to go over there and talk to him, and I feel bad about that. I mean, he had other people with him at the time, but I did see Luger. I think in summer of 2016 at McCoy Stadium, and I forced myself really to go over and talk to Luger because you know I just felt bad about Heenan, and I think Heenan had passed away, and I wanted to acknowledge, or Heenan was not in good shape. I can't remember, but Luger was not in good shape, but he was actually pretty personal and talkative, and I just remember telling Luger that I'd seen him wrestle live, and I felt, that he had some great matches, and kind of people shit on Luger's abilities, but I think Luger was decent. I mean, if you watch Lex Luger versus Danny Spivey, Wrestle War 91, it's a fucking good match. I've been watching, in one room of my abode, I've been watching Wrestle War 91. And in another abode room, this room actually, I've been watching World Class Championship Wrestling 1982. I don't have the fucking WWE network right now. I don't miss it, to be honest with you. I've just got so many fucking wrestling DVDs that I've collected over the years that I'm going through them now. Like I had this thing for a long time where oh god, I'll tell you a fucking story. Um, when I was in college, a friend of mine had a grandfather, Joe Souza, and he was like suffering from dementia or Alzheimer's, and the poor guy, they just put these fucking wrestling tapes on him for him. They put like WrestleMania 4, WrestleMania 5, and maybe like SummerSlam 88. They put like the same fucking three VHS tapes over and over again for this poor old dude, and he just watch him and watch him and watch him, and he never got sick of them because he had dementia and he couldn't fucking remember. Like he always thought that like Greg Valentine and the Honky Tonk Man worked down the street, and so he'd always talk about these wrestlers working down the street. Look at my hair, look like the goddamn Mo. But he would always fucking watch the same tapes, and I was like, man, that's not going to happen to me. If I get to be an old guy and get dementia, you're gonna have to at least circulate the goddamn DVDs so people don't think I'm an idiot. So I have all these wrestling DVDs I was kind of saving for like my old age, but now I'm just watching them now because I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna watch them now, and why not? But and I'm still ordering more shit. I've ordered this Tri-State Wrestling Alliance fucking thing. But anyway, I've got tons of wrestling to watch. I don't particularly need the network. Some people like to bust my balls. Okay, the God damn it, Priscilla Kelly thing. People might be wondering where, I still stand by it. I think in this age of Joey Ryan and fucking thumb in the ass spots and everything else, I think that what she did was fine by comparison. Now, I'm not a fan of the spot, but I do feel like for fucking Road Dogg, who works for the WWE, which is such a morally bankrupt company with their shows in Saudi Arabia at least, for Road Dogg and for all these other people to criticize this 22 or 23-year-old lady who's wrestling in a fucking bar with no ring. I mean, I think she was pretty inventive given the situation, and she put herself on the map. And maybe some of these people that are criticizing Priscilla Kelly are jealous because they didn't fucking think of it first. Anyway, I'm hitting the 16, 17 minute mark. I see that there's some viewers that have been very loyal, at least, and thank you. I do have some people out there that I always want to thank. Jay Baca, I believe, is on Twitter. He always changes his Twitter name, so you have to look for him. But Jay Baca tweets. He's a good guy. JG, Jeremy Grubb, haven't spoken to him in a while, or Cole Sharf for our podcast, but maybe we'll get them back together in the new year. Uh, I've got a lot of good people. Damon Campana, guy known in real life, even went to a couple of Ring of Honor shows in the earlier half of the decade. But yeah, a lot of good people out there. Aaron Wujcik is raising his son to be a wrestling fan, so just sending in the shout-outs. My buddy Tommy DiNucci's out there in LA shooting a film right now with Richard Switzer. A lot of good people. My buddy David Gear and his girlfriend Chelsea Vale are doing great things. A friend of mine, Tanya Lynch, has got a special award tonight from her buddy Pamela Morgan. So all the good people, Lori Schuleton, Sandy Fogel, those Skip Shea, former wrestler, actually, a good friend of everybody's, William DeKoff, wrestled Abdullah the fucking Butcher, in fucking world class. So that's a good friend of mine. Will Dekoff, great guy. But anyway, I'm going to wrap fucking things up. Like I said, MikeMessier.com, angry wrestling fan. Really, this started out as a press conference response. All Elite Wrestling, give them the fucking props. Look, I don't enjoy everything they do. I don't enjoy, Cody, putting Cody over or the Young Bucks 30 super kicks a match. I don't enjoy everything they do, but I do have a begrudging respect that they're doing something without fucking Vince McMahon. So I have that respect for them as business people and doing their goddamn thing. And if there's anything that come out of All Elite, it's have some fucking balls in this goddamn world. So that's MikeMessier.com. Thanks a lot, everybody.